Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How are we doing today on this Tuesday evening? Football last night, football over the weekend, some disappointments, a lot of question marks, I think. What did you think of this week's games and overall the weekend?
I thought it was great.
Really?
I enjoyed it all.
I'm
I
shocked.
can't wait for Thanksgiving to watch all the games on Thanksgiving and then on Sunday as well. It's going to be a huge football week.
Yeah. Well, I think we should start with this one because I don't think there's much to be thankful about, and that is the Jets and Patriots game.
I'm thankful the Patriots won.
Not if you're a New York fan or a New York Jet fan, because this game was horrible. This game was embarrassing on all fronts. Robert Saleh has informed Zach Wilson and the rest of the Jets organization that the quarterback position is open right now. He is open to moving off Zach Wilson if that means, maybe more wins, a better performance, because Zach Wilson did not play very well. He went 9 of 22 for 77 yards. And this was in post game. It was not a pretty sight for Zach Wilson. We have the clip here.
As an offense, though, I mean, when you guys are only able to score 3 points, the defense only lets up 3 points. I mean, do you feel like you let the defense down at all?
No. Thank you.
That was it. One word response to if you let down your defense, and he simply said no. No explanation, no nothing. So I want to ask you, do you think the Jets should be searching for their next QB solution only 2 years into Zach Wilson's career?
Maybe. I'm not totally sure. I mean, Zach Wilson has done very poorly against Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick's got his number. And the Patriots defense now, I think it's the best defense in the league right now. They've figured it out, man. They've got a strategy, and they don't give up any points, right? They gave up no points to Detroit. They gave up 3 points to the Jets, right? They're a fantastic defense. I think that I wouldn't put it all on Zach Wilson. I think that the Patriots had a game plan for him. I put some of it on the Jets offensive coordinator, right? He couldn't figure it out. They should have made some adjustments during the game, right? They didn't know what they were doing. And Zach Wilson did throw some passes that were very poor, right? They were inaccurate. He threw it over people's heads. There should have been 2 interceptions. The Patriots dropped both of them. So, I think they should start Flacco. And I'm not sure what they should do next year, whether they should draft another quarterback or not. I think they figure that out along the way here. But they're in contention, so they don't want to miss out on that. They should pivot right now and try Flacco, I think, and let Wilson watch a little bit longer.
Right.
That's what I'd do.
Well, it looks like the population on Twitter, at least for one,
Flacco was a Super Bowl quarterback.
He is. He won a Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
There's a poll brought out by one of the Twitter users that I follow, NFL Rumors, on Twitter at NFLRUMS. 6,859 people took this poll. 58.7% of people says Joe Flacco to start the next game against the Bears. Mike White was the next highest at 29%. Zach Wilson was all the way down here at 12.3%. I said this last time we talked about Zach Wilson when it was the first game without Breece Hall. I believe it was against the Patriots, and he just could not deliver. He threw the 3 interceptions. They were all very, very ugly interceptions. And I said he should grow up. And once again, you go into a press conference where in the second half, your offense averaged 2.7 inches per play. 2.7 inches per play. Not feet, not almost the yard per play. Inches, which is very, very bad. I believe you might have had negative yards in the second half.
I think they did.
It was absurd. And your defense allowed 3 points. And when you're asked, did you let your defense down? You simply say no. How did you not? Were you not?
He doesn't know what to say. He didn't know what to say.
He's turning on his team.
What would he? He's a young guy, and he played terrible, and he knows it. And what's he going to say to that? I mean,
you should give a response. Yes, no, exactly that. That's what I'm saying about how Zach Wilson needs to grow up. Baker Mayfield, he's not. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a terrible. He's not god awful. He's not a good quarterback though. He's a bad quarterback, a below average quarterback. But at least he comes out and doesn't say one-word answers. He says what's wrong. And that's something that I respect about it. He says what's going on. Zach Wilson, on the other hand, just says no. And Robert Saleh was not too happy with the offense. He was calling it out. Elijah Moore is also calling out his offense. It seems like Zach Wilson is not happy when it comes to
well, Saleh is the head coach. I mean, he should do something about it. If he's not happy, he's the guy that can make the decisions to fix it.
That's why he's saying the quarterback job is open right now.
Well, he shouldn't say that. I mean, what does that mean? It's open. Who's going to make a decision about who plays quarterback? He's the guy that's going to make it. So instead of saying it's open, he should say Zach Wilson's going to sit down for a game, for a couple of games, and we're going to look at Joe Flacco and see what we can do. We're in contention and we need to win. So we've got to try something different right now.
There's a problem with that.
I don't know
though.
what I'd say. The quarterback position is open. What does that mean?
There's a problem with that because you have to realize this is a young quarterback and you don't want to kill his confidence. If you kill his confidence,
well, I don't know what that means. So now he's wondering, well, am I starting or am I sitting? I don't know what I'm in limbo. I don't know
exactly. So
instead of making an announcement that the quarterback position is open, he should have got in there and talked to Zach Wilson, say, look, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then come out and say either he's starting or he's not. Let everybody know definitively, not leave it up in the air like that. I don't think that's the right thing to do. That doesn't show much leadership. Shows zero leadership.
But you have to realize that if you kill a kid's confidence, if you kill a young quarterback's confidence, he'll never be anything.
No, but don't kill. You wouldn't kill it if you
set him aside. You're benched.
No, you set him aside and say, look, we're in contention right now. You're in the early stages of your career.
Right.
You've had a couple of bad games. You're not playing up to what we need to be right now. We're going to go with Joe Flacco for a while now and see how that goes, and you will learn from it. That's what I want you to do. Don't think that it's the end of your career. It's not. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
They went 1-2 with Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco did have over 900 yards passing and led the league in passing when he did start.
Yeah.
I would probably go to Joe Flacco. A lot of fans online love Mike White because of the story last year. He comes in, he puts up 400 yards against the Bengals.
One game, and then he's been lousy ever since.
Yes, I agree with that.
One game. I think it was a fluke.
It was 400 yards on 80%
Joe Flacco
completion
is a proven
percentage.
quarterback.
Yeah, but he's washed now. He's not going to be better than anybody, but
no, but he can manage the game a lot better. Right,
I agree with that.
I think he can throw a screen pass and not throw it over the guy's head.
Right. Yeah. Zach Wilson threw a horrible screen pass. They were wide open
Joe
receivers.
Flacco is a great long passer. He throws the ball long as well as anybody, accurately too.
Maybe in his prime.
I still think he's got that. I think he's got that long pass.
I don't know about that. That might push it a little bit.
I think, given what's happened recently for them, I think it's worth a try.
Could be.
Again, I don't put it all on Zach Wilson either. I put a lot on the offensive coordinator. I mean, Bill Belichick outsmarted those guys big time.
Well, the crazy part about it is, for the second time, the Jets sacked Mac Jones more than the Patriots sacked Zach Wilson, and they still got the win. The Patriots did. Once again, when the Jets versus the Patriots, they sacked Mac Jones again for the sixth time. 6 sacks in both games.
Yeah, well, a lot of that is Mac Jones standing back there looking around. And not getting rid of the ball fast enough.
I don't know.
And I will say, I was watching some of those routes the guys were running, and there were people open, and he didn't see them. So it makes me wonder: does he really know the plays well enough to know where the receivers are going to be, or is he just dropping back there and looking around to see where they are? Does he really know? I mean, Brady, he knows exactly where everybody's going to be. Right?
You should compare Mac Jones to Tom Brady.
Well, no, but in terms of preparation and learning and being out there and knowing exactly what's going to happen on every play, I'm not so sure Mac Jones knows that.
Well, Mac Jones did not have a bad game under any regard.
No, he did. 23 of 27. I mean, and 246 yards. That's pretty good.
That's very
pretty good. No touchdowns, though. When they get the red zone,
no turnovers.
No turnovers. That's good too. But when they get in the red zone, they can't punch the ball into the end zone. That's a problem they have.
They had trouble with a lot of penalties, though, when they got down there. Penalties and sacks. A lot of, for some reason.
Sacks because?
Okay.
Because he's standing back
it could
too
be.
long.
The pocket's collapsing some of that time, though. The pocket.
Well, then he should throw the ball away.
Trent Brown, for a few of these games, has had serious problems, especially against the Jets. He keeps getting beat on the outside. And plus, they lost David Andrews possibly for the entire year.
That's hurt. That hurts.
They lost Isaiah Wynn, who was in there, who wasn't doing too badly. He had a little bit of a penalty issue earlier this year.
He gets hurt a lot.
But he was also moved to guard as well. He was moved off a tackle into guard. So they did lose 2 offensive linemen. Cole Strange has been in and out of the lineup recently. I don't know what that's entirely about. But it could have been the pocket collapsing. Mac Jones does tend to hold the ball a little bit longer, though.
He does.
He told reporters before this game how he took this break or whatever to work on his timing on his dropbacks because he realized he would drop back way before the receivers were even ready to break on their routes. So then he worked on film. It wasn't so much a physical rework. It was more so of a mental one. How many steps do I drop back? When are the receivers supposed to be open? So it could be Mac Jones doesn't entirely know which place to go to or when the receiver's supposed to break. That could also okay.
Well, that's practice.
You shouldn't put that all on Mac Jones because for some reason he didn't know who his play caller was through most, if not all, of the offseason. Going to week 1, we didn't even know who the official play caller was.
Yeah, but they know what the plays are. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
Judge is calling different things than that.
But I understand he's calling a bunch of different plays, but they got to know what they're supposed to do on every play. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. He needs to know what routes the receivers are running.
Right.
And then he has to go through his progression and throw the ball. He stands back there looking around. I don't know whether he really knows where those guys are going or not.
I was surprised. I mean, Zach Wilson, there was no offense there, so I shouldn't be that surprised that he didn't throw any turnovers. They were mostly out of bounds. I mean, the Jets punted more than Zach Wilson completed passes.
He should have had 2 interceptions.
He should have. One was straight to Devin McCourty, and the other one was a jump route.
Jonathan Jones should have had that one.
It was a beautiful jump route, but he just couldn't keep the ball. And then Marcus Jones, I believe that's what his name, had that 84-yard punt return for a touchdown. It was a beautiful, beautiful punt return.
They were lucky they didn't call the blocking in the back on Wilson. How stupid was that?
It was kind of on the side, though. It was close. It was very, very close. But it could have been a
Jones
Jones
was going into the end zone no matter what, right? And then he made that block. He did that. They're lucky. Yeah. They're lucky they didn't get called on that. Yeah. The refs didn't see it.
It was very close. Yeah. To get
that can't be challenged, right? Where would the penalty have been? Would it be at the spot of the foul, or would they have taken the ball all the way back?
I think they would have taken. Oh, I actually don't know about that.
Yeah, I think if it was at the spot of the foul, then they would have kicked the field goal and still won the game.
I have a feeling it would have been other. No, it probably would have been on the punt kick. It either move it back or move it forward. I guess the Jets might have had a first down. I don't know what the block in the back rules are.
No, they wouldn't have done that.
So what, you just get it at what? Where
I don't know.
The ball?
I don't know if they take it all the way back or they take it with the spot of the foul with the penalty.
Could be. Yeah. I want to get on your Patriots defense comments.
We're announcers here. We should know that.
I want to get on your Patriots defensive comments. They're not first in points allowed. They're second in points allowed. So they're right up there. Same thing with yards.
No, but in the last, since they got this figured out about 5 weeks ago, they've got to be number one.
Well, you have to realize
they must be number one.
Well,
I mean, the first few games, the defense wasn't that great, but they figured it out. They have
the
right
one,
rotations.
The one outlier was the the Bears game. Gave up 33 points in that game.
Yeah, they weren't prepared for that game. I don't know what happened there.
But since the Lions game where they gave up no points, it was 15 against the Browns, 33 against the Bears, 17 against the Jets, 3 against the Colts, and 3 against these Jets. They play the Vikings next week, and we'll get into this a little later on in the show. We'll get into the Thanksgiving games. But I don't know. The Vikings they need a rebound after getting smothered by the Cowboys, and we'll get into that in our next topic. We're going to be talking about them. But I don't know. They play a lot of teams. I had the strength of schedule up here.
Patriots have a tough go of it.
They do. Let's see if it's out here now. Is this for week 12? The Patriots have the 4th strongest schedule going throughout the rest of the year. Through 11 weeks, they have the 4th toughest schedule. Meanwhile, some of these teams like the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Chargers all have some of the easiest schedules. The Chiefs actually having the easiest schedule.
The Chiefs are in the top anyway. It doesn't matter for they were going to win the division anyway. It's the wild card fight,
right? So
it's like the Chargers, right? Mm-hmm. What's their record now?
The Chargers' record, they lost They lost 2 nights ago, so they are 5-5 right now.
5-5.
Yeah.
So they're 1 game behind the Patriots.
Yes.
1 game behind the Jets.
The Jets right now are out of the playoffs.
Who is the 7th seed right now?
That would be the Patriots or the Bengals. I'm
No,
not
the
too sure.
Bengals. It's the Bengals. The Patriots are the 6th seed.
So then it would be the Bengals.
So there's going to be a fight for those last 2 playoff spots, and it's going to be tough for the Patriots because they do have the tough schedule. They need to win on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It's going to be tough to beat the Vikings because they got smothered by the Cowboys. They're going to be playing for something now.
That could be, and you're playing at Vikings as well.
At Vikings, and it's indoors.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots play better outdoors.
Well, the Patriots do. I mean, like I said, they have the 4th toughest schedule remaining in the NFL right now. They play teams like the Bills. I believe they play the Bills twice. Yep. They also.
Although the Bills are a little softer than they were at the beginning of the year, their defense is still great, but their offense is sputtering.
Can Bill Belichick keep up with DeAndre Hopkins? Kyler Murray will probably be back by then. Can they keep up with Devontae Adams? Because they're actually playing on a short week that week. They play Monday and Sunday, each late games. So they're gonna be playing at night. They play Monday night straight into Sunday. So relatively short week. You play the Bengals. Jamar Chase might be back by then. T. Higgins is still there. Can you deal with that? You play the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Will we see anything there? There's a lot of question marks happening.
You know what? They played the Dolphins well the first game in terms of the defense. They gave up 20 points, right?
Yeah.
And the Dolphins have a pretty dynamic offense.
I don't
right?
think,
It was the
first game I might make
Patriots'
that up.
offense that was the problem. It wasn't the defense. It was the offense. The offense only scored
Mike
7
McDaniel didn't have
points.
anything else. It was the first career coaching game. So I think he has it right now. And
They should do better against. They should do better than
Yes.
Against Miami, and they'll be playing at home. And so, is it the last game of the season?
no, Bills is the last game. January 8th, 1 p.m. game. So I don't know. They have a pretty tough schedule. It's close to say that they'll make or miss the playoffs. It's really a toss-up because there are a lot of teams that could make it, could miss it. Right now, they're in the 6th seed, so they have a 2-game buffer right now between them and the next remaining spot. They need to drop out 2 spots to miss the playoffs. So we'll definitely keep a close eye on that. But I don't know. Zach Wilson, should they be looking at the next solution? I know what my brother was saying. Get him out of there. Replace him. They need to find a new quarterback. And I can sort of agree with it because...
Yeah, but I think that right now it's the immediacy. They have to worry about the rest of the games in the season because they are in contention.
Right.
Right? So whether they draft another quarterback or not, I don't think they're thinking about that. They're thinking about who's going to play next Sunday.
Yeah.
Right?
They're playing the Bears. They're right now favored by 4.5 against the Bears.
Is it at home or away?
It is at Jets, I believe.
They should win that game.
If Zach Wilson starts, I'm taking Bears plus 4.5.
Yeah.
That would be me.
I would do that too.
If Joe Flacco starts, then I'll probably pick the Jets minus 4. But it depends on where the spread goes. They're playing at home against the Bears, yeah. So I don't know. It's I would definitely, it's a toss up. Could I see them benching Zach Wilson after what he's been doing, especially against the Patriots? Yeah, I could. Because I said it as soon as Brees Hall was out, I put a question mark.
I have one more comment about the Patriots-Jets game.
Sure.
Bill Belichick loves a game like that game on Sunday.
Of course he does.
Because he's a defensive guru, and he loves it when the special teams and the defense are what really wins the game.
Gets his ego up there saying, look what I did.
Yeah. And his son is a defensive coordinator.
He also has another one of his kids, Brian Belichick, I believe, on the team as well.
So I think Belichick savors a game like that and have come out on top with the special teams being the reason they won.
Yeah.
I mean, special teams scored all the points, right? They got the field goal and the touchdown.
If I had to take a guess what Bill Belichick's favorite Super Bowls are, it'd be beating the greatest show on turf and the second Rams Super Bowl.
Rams,
both the Rams Super
ones,
Bowls.
yeah. No points given up.
I can tell you what his least favorite Super Bowl would probably be.
The Eagles.
Yeah, losing because he gave up 41 points to Nick Foles. Nick Foles right now is the backup quarterback.
That's crazy.
To Matt Ryan and Sam Ehlinger. He's on the Colts. He was the third string. They put Sam Ehlinger over him. How bad do you have to be to get beat out by Sam Ehlinger? I mean, that's bad. He was a Super Bowl MVP that year. I don't know. Jets are in some trouble. Jets are in a lot of trouble. And the problem is that New York fans are unrelenting when it comes to this. If you break their trust, you're screwed.
Yeah, well.
It's like getting blackballed in Hollywood.
Yeah, well.
You'll have a tough time getting out of there alive. So Zach Wilson has to be very, very careful. And him just saying no in a press conference, not giving sort of any explanation.
I agree with you.
That does not bode well.
Not appropriate.
Not at all. And then Robert Saleh did call him out for that. Let's move on to our next topic. We are going to be talking about two teams that have a lot of question marks, especially recently. And I've heard this a lot over the course of the year, especially with the Eagles. Their strength of schedule has never been that high, especially because starting out, they had the 30th toughest schedule in the league, moving to recently the ending on 12 weeks. If I could find them here, they have the 11th, so they move up slightly based on the win-loss percentage that they've had, that teams have had this year. Vikings got crushed 40-3 by the Cowboys. It was a sort of not a 1 p.m. game, so Kirk Cousins generally doesn't play that well. And the Eagles almost lost to Jeff Saturday and the Colts, 17-16.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what do you think, which team has the highest chance at the end of the year being considered, frauds, not as good as they appear to be? The Eagles or the Vikings?
I think it's the Vikings.
Okay. Why? What makes you say that?
The Eagles, they have a toughness about them that I don't see in the Vikings. I think their defense is tough. They have their offense has that running ability that the Vikings don't seem to have. The Vikings are more a finesse team than the Eagles. The Eagles are more a lunch pail, sock them in the mouth team.
Right.
And I think that bodes better for getting deeper into the playoffs than the finesse type team. So it's hard to say. I think the Vikings have had a good season. I think that the game on Thanksgiving will be very close, and but I think that will say something more about whether they're really a championship caliber team, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually a little bit. I'm going to differentiate from what you said. I think more so the Eagles are bigger frauds than the Vikings are. Because the Vikings have a point differential. Yeah, they just got destroyed by the Cowboys 40-3. Regardless of that game, they still have a point differential of only -2. They're 8-2 and have a point differential of -2. They're the only team that's 8-2 that has a negative point differential. So I think that's a bigger indicator about actually one or two games. Because think about the teams they lost to. They lost to the Eagles and they lost to the Cowboys. Cowboys have a great defense, and their offense seemed to be almost lights out. And the Eagles were undefeated at that point, playing absolutely. They were dominant in the second quarter, and no one could really figure them out. And then the Commanders came in and ran the ball down their throats 49 times, and the Colts tried a little bit of the same thing, and then at the end they couldn't figure out how to win. So I'm going to say the Eagles are a little bit more fraudulent than the Vikings are. Because if Kirk Cousins plays a 1 p.m. game, he's fine. He plays fine. He beat the Bills. He's won a bunch of close...
Bills beat themselves in that game. They fumbled the ball on the half-yard line.
Kirk Cousins made
on
the
a
throws
snap.
when it needed. He made throws when he needed to. Yes, Justin Jefferson made a phenomenal catch on 4th and 18, but then Kirk Cousins lasered him right at the goal line towards the very end of that game.
Yeah.
So Kirk Cousins, if he plays
there
a
was some
1
good
game,
game. There was some good plays by the Vikings, but the Bills beat themselves. They really did. They could, if they hadn't fumbled on the goal line there, they would have won that game.
Yeah. So I'm saying the Eagles because the way I'm taking a look at it now, the Eagles sort of have a method of losing, and that's, can you run the ball efficiently? And right now, the Eagles are playing teams throughout the rest of the year that can generally run the ball very well. I mean, they just played the Colts, who have Jonathan Taylor. They only won by 1 point, and it was on a final late game drive. They play teams like the Packers, who have two pretty good running backs, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Then you go into the Titans. Come on, Derrick Henry. That's who we're talking about here. The Giants, Saquon. If Saquon can get going, you're going to lose to the Giants. Then the Bears. Justin Fields has been running lights out, essentially. Then you play the Cowboys. Tony Pollard. I saw him in the Cowboys game. He's better than Ezekiel Elliott right now.
Yeah, well, the pass defense in that game was terrible by the Vikings.
Yes.
Right?
And then the Saints. Alvin Kamara, can he get going in this game? We'll see. And then you finish on the Giants once again with Saquon. Can he get going? The Vikings, it's a little bit of a different story because there's really only one thing. They've been winning close games against every team, essentially. The only team that they've blown out was the Packers. They won by 16 points, 23-7. They also lost they lost 7-24 to the Eagles, and then they just lost 3-40 to the Cowboys. But the Dolphins game was a 8-point win. The Bears game was a 7-point win. The Saints was a 3-point win.
Yeah.
Lions was a 4-point win. Commanders was a 3-point win. Bills was an overtime field goal that they won by.
They've all been close.
So Kirk Cousins is able to win these close games generally because they're usually 1 p.m. games.
Yeah.
He's lost.
What time is the game on Thanksgiving?
It's the night game.
Oh, is it?
The last time we played a night game was Monday Night Football, or I guess actually no, Monday Night Football. He lost 7-24. So that's why I'm saying when we get into our picks, the last topic of our show, I'm picking Patriots. I think they're +4.5. I think +3.5.
Are they really?
Yeah,
They're underdogs.
underdogs at home. Oh no, I'm sorry. Underdogs away, obviously.
Yeah.
Vikings are 3-point favorites at home. So I'm saying the Eagles are more fraudulent because I think, he plays 2 more games the rest of the year outside of 1 p.m. 4:25 against the Packers, who I think he'll beat, and then 8:20 against the Patriots. Every other game's a 1 p.m. game. So can they only lose 2 more games and go, was it 13-4? That's what I actually had. At the very beginning of the season, I thought it was crazy that the Vikings win 13 games. But I think right now they're primed in position to win 13 games this year. Because Kirk Cousins plays a 1 p.m. game. He plays teams like the Jets, who aren't really good right now, the Lions, the Colts, the Giants, who I think they could expose, the Packers, who they've already beat by, 16 points, and then the Bears.
I think the Giants got exposed a little bit this week.
I've been saying that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call the Eagles are going to be a little bit more fraudulent by the end of the year because I could see them actually struggling. Maybe they could beat every single one of these teams, but definitely we could see some trouble if you're able to run the ball effectively against this team.
Well, they've only lost 1 game so far.
They almost lost to the Colts, though.
They almost, but didn't. They found a way to come back and win the game.
It was an ugly
game. They were
game.
down 13-3, right?
Yeah. So, very ugly game. The Eagles, I feel like, have a bigger problem than the Vikings do. Vikings just need to play at 1 p.m., and Kirk Cousins generally does fine. Eagles have to figure a way to stop the run, which they've had a little bit difficulty doing. They are 19th in rushing defense. So that says it right there. Let's move on to our next topic. We're talking about Sunday Night Football. It was Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. Another phenomenal game between these two elite quarterbacks. Mahomes did lead a late game-winning touchdown drive to, I believe, Travis Kelce to win the game 30-27. Kelce had 3 touchdowns on the day.
He had a monster game.
He's been having monster games at pretty much the entire year. He had I believe it might have been
He
the
looks
Chargers
so
game.
athletic out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
he had a 4 touchdown game. He played very, very well. Mahomes has been almost lights out the entire year. He started off red hot against the Cardinals. The Cardinals turned out not to be a great team so far. Then it was a little bit of a cool patch. He was still warm, and then he keeps spiking with these hot streaks. And this was another pretty good game. 329 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. So, do you think, as we're speaking right now, on Tuesday at 7:00 p.m. on November 22nd, 2022, is Mahomes now clearly the front runner for MVP this year?
Yes.
That's it. Yes.
I think so.
Fair enough.
I think so. I think he better hope that Kelce stays healthy because that is the go-to guy for him now.
Right.
And that guy, he makes plays. After he catches the ball, look out. He's a steamroller, man.
Right.
He's a Mack truck. He's tough to stop. He's a tough guy. He's having a great season. As good as any tight end has had, I think. He looks great out there. He looks very mobile. He doesn't look like a tight end when he catches the ball. He looks more like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
He really and he's not young. He's not that young either, right? He's 33, I think.
He's up there.
Yeah. So I think that connection, Mahomes to Kelce, is lethal.
Yeah.
And if he can stay healthy, they both can stay healthy, then I think Mahomes wins the MVP. Particularly if they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which I think they have a pretty good chance now, right? And I'm not sure the Bucs get there. I have them playing the Bucs and the Bucs winning, but doesn't look that great for that. But the Bucs are in first place in their division with a 5-5 record.
Right.
Yeah.
it seems like these Justin Herbert versus Mahomes games, they're up there with Josh Allen and Mahomes. Now Joe Burrow and Mahomes. It seems like Justin Herbert.
That last drive, the very last drive, what kind of plays were they calling there? I don't know what they were thinking about. I mean, they had a chance to get down there and get a field goal.
Right.
So they should have been going to the outside and saving the clock. Instead, he tried to run the ball on the first down, and he got sacked.
Right.
That was, I just think the play calling was bad there right at the end.
Well, the Chargers seem to do this a lot this year. They score a lot of points in the first half and then die in the second half.
Yeah.
They score 20 points in the first half and only 7 in the second half. Meanwhile, the Chiefs go on and score 17 in the second half and have 16 in the first half. So there's a lot going on with the Chargers, and it just seems
I think they're a shaky team. I don't think they're.
Yes.
They don't give me the confidence that they're consistently good.
Right.
They're shaky.
Mike Williams got hurt
why.
again, too.
Oh, he did? He got hurt?
Yeah, on that tremendous
But Keenan Allen was back.
He was in there, and he had a lot of impact on this game. I just think Justin Herbert has dealt with a lot. His offensive line is all battered up. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams come back. Mike Williams gets hurt on the first catch, which was a beautiful toe touch. He gets hurt on that play, aggravates his high ankle sprain, so he'll be out. It just seems like Herbert, ever since the first game he ever played, it was supposed to be Tyrod Taylor versus Mahomes. Tyrod Taylor gets like a punctured lung right before the game because he was dealing with an injury. I think his lung drops or something like that. So Herbert has to go in there, goes toe-to-toe in his first career start against Mahomes. Goes toe-to-toe with him, can't get over the hump of beating Mahomes because Mahomes is just that much better. And that it's been that way ever since, essentially. Justin Herbert can go toe-to-toe with Mahomes. It's just he can't beat him.
Yeah.
They played one time in week 2.
Well, I think that the personnel on the Chiefs is just a little bit better, too, overall.
Right.
And you look at the Chiefs now, they don't miss Tyreek Hill anymore.
No,
they've gone more to the tight end. They have some decent wide receivers, too. And you don't hear anybody saying, wow, if they had Tyreek Hill, they would be able to do this and that. They seem to be able to do whatever they want now.
They were able to adjust tremendously. Instead of going the big play, 70-yard touchdown bombs to Tyreek Hill, they were able to coach Mahomes to tone it back a little bit, take the check down, take the short route, take the drag, take the out route, something short just to get the ball out. So now they're on these 8, 9, 10 play drives instead of 2 plays, 85 yards.
He runs the ball once in a while, too.
He does. He is a very effective runner. They play the Rams next week, and
they'll kill him.
The first time he played the Rams was in 2018, and that was probably the greatest Monday Night Football game in history.
Yeah.
Except it was weird. It was in favor of Jared Goff and the Rams, eking out a win, 54-51. Mahomes threw 478 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks in that game. But could not get past Jared Goff, who had 4 touchdowns. And I have it here, and 413 yards. So, in this game, Matt Stafford's dealing with a concussion still. No Cooper Kupp. The Rams...
The Rams said they're done.
They just released their starting running back, even though Cam Akers had a problem with the team. He's staying on the team, and Darrell Henderson got released. The defense is shaky. Jalen Rams, he's getting absolutely torched this year. So... I think this is going to be a blowout. I can bring up the spread right now, but whatever it is, I'm picking Chiefs. It might be Chiefs -7, I think I saw originally, but...
Stafford probably won't play either, right?
I doubt he's going to play.
Concussion issue.
We're taking a look at here. I don't know if this is a night game, but I could certainly check. The Chiefs... Oh, my God. It's a -15-point spread.
Wow.
On a Tuesday, opening...
I'm not so sure it's 15 points.
Yeah. Wow. 15-point spread. That's the biggest one I've seen. Actually, the Bills might have had one last year that was like -17, I think I remember saying. But even though it sounds crazy, I'm going to stick with my method of picking Rams +15.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe Aaron Donald, spark, maybe. I don't know. But Mahomes right now is clearly the MVP favorite. Josh Allen was my MVP favorite for most of the season, and he's resorted back to, 2 years ago, pre-Brian Dable or pre-whatever he is now. It seems like without Brian Dable, his game isn't as refined late in late in games as it once was. He's been pretty inaccurate with the ball. He's putting the ball in harm's way. He had that costly fumble against the Vikings. He's just not the MVP for me. I'd probably put.
How did he do last weekend? What were his stats?
I know he won the game. Let's see if I can bring that up right now very quickly. Josh Allen against the Cleveland Browns, 66% completion percentage, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. 100.4 passer rating.
Not bad.
Which is this passer rating has been his best since week 6 against Kansas City, where he had 117.6.
What was the score of the game?
The Browns game?
Yeah.
31-23.
Yeah.
But they were down a decent amount in that game, too. It was a very scary game.
I think Jacoby Brissett had a pretty good day, too, right? I thought he was up there, 300 yards passing.
324, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah.
28 of 41.
Isn't Deshaun Watson, when's he start now?
Week 13. So that'll be against his former team, the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting game to get back on. We'll see how well Deshaun Watson goes. I'm picking the Texans in that game.
You're picking the Texans?
Davis Mills may get benched, I believe I saw.
Really?
They are not. I don't think they're going to start with Davis Mills this next
Who's the
upcoming
backup
week.
quarterback?
That is a great question. Let's see. That would be because the Lovely Smith said that they're not getting the production that they need out of Davis Mills, so they may they may bench him, which I don't know.
They may fire Lovie Smith at the end of the season.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen.
He played for the
Yeah, I know
the
who he
Panthers.
is, Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he also played for the Commanders as well. Yeah. So it's interesting. Very, very interesting. So I don't know. Mahomes MVP right now, yes. Do I think he'll win it? Probably. He's 3,200 yards. He's leading the league in passing yards. So I definitely think he will get the MVP award. We're going to take our first break right now, but coming up, we'll be discussing last night's game between the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. We make our Thanksgiving game day picks, and we will recap everything that happened in Week 11 right after this break.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm being joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into last night's game between the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. And Jimmy G played pretty well. Almost 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 2 to Kittle, 2 to Brandon Ayuk. So based on what you saw last night, do you think the 49ers are the best team in the NFC? And could they make their second Super Bowl under Jimmy G in 4 years?
Yes.
What makes you say that?
Oh, look at the way they played last night. Look at the players they have. They have their offense is loaded, right? Now they have McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels, Ayuk, Jimmy G. Who's a running back? Who they got?
Well, they have McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
And they also have Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell, right? They have they have Kittle.
Kittle.
I mean, they're loaded. And they showed it last night, man. They were unstoppable. They look great.
Yeah.
So I think definitely they could win the Super Bowl this year. They have a possibility of winning it. They're getting there for sure, and winning it, I think they have a good shot at that.
So you would right now consider them the best team in the NFC?
Yes.
Above the Eagles?
Yes.
Above the Vikings?
Yes.
Even above the Cowboys?
Yes. Oh yeah.
You would take the 49ers right now above Tom Brady in Tampa?
Right now, yes.
Interesting.
Do they play? Do they play each other?
They
Bucks
do.
And that will be a great
They
game
do.
to watch. Brady against Garoppolo, huh?
I don't know if I have it. I can bring it up right in front of you. I'm not sure which week that is, but I can bring it up right now. I've said this recently, and I will admit, about a year ago, when we first started the show, I was a little bit of a hater of Jimmy G. I decided, you know what, Jimmy G is not a great quarterback because I just didn't see that flashy nature that we see from quarterbacks nowadays. And right now, I'm going to bring up something of how valuable Jimmy G really is and how I don't think many quarterbacks can do what Jimmy G's doing, because I don't know how many quarterbacks can complete almost 70% of their throws, win 36, it goes 36 and 17 with your head coach, and the head coach goes 9 and 28 without you. That just shows how valuable you really are. So, for instance, people like to say Jimmy G gets carried by his team. Well, not entirely, because the 49ers have had quarterbacks like C.J. Beathard. Who's him? I'm not sure. Brian Hoyer, we know him. He's the Patriot legend, backup legend. Nick Mullins, who didn't do that badly with them. Again, they had C.J. Beathard in 2018. 2019, it was all Jimmy G. They went 13-3 that year. 2020, Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard again. Jimmy G got hurt that year. 2021, Trey Lance started 2 of those games. Jimmy G started the rest. And this year, Trey Lance got the starting job and then got hurt in the 3rd game. He went 9 and 28, did Kyle Shanahan, without Jimmy G. Quarterbacks had a 59% completion percentage, 52 touchdowns to 42 interceptions. Jimmy G, on the other hand, from 2017, because that's what we're talking about, 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, 2017, Jimmy G got there, I think by week 8, was it? They went they were doing terrible, and then they traded.
They won all the games after.
Yeah, 5-0 when Jimmy G got there. Since Jimmy G got there, Jimmy G has 67.6 completion percentage, 81 touchdowns, 42 interceptions, 36 and 17 record. Now, this is generally with the same pieces these other quarterbacks have. So why aren't they getting the same level of success? One, they're backups. That's the first thing. You know, Nick Mullins ain't that bad of a backup. He went, 5 and 11, little over 4,600 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. So, backup material. C.J. Beathard ain't anything. And Brian Hoyer, he started for the Texans, it seems like centuries ago. I don't know many quarterbacks that could do this. I don't think Kirk Cousins could do what Jimmy G's doing. I don't think Ryan Tannehill could do what Jimmy G's doing. Mm-hmm. I would see, for some reason, I think people don't like Jimmy G just because he's not the flashy guy that could throw deep. He's a very old-fashioned quarterback. Take the short route. Take the 6-yard route. Just get it to your guy. And Jimmy G has been consistently slightly above average. I put him around the 13 to 14.
Well, he's having a very good year.
You're right. And
how many he's thrown? He threw 3 touchdowns last night, right?
4
4
touchdowns.
So he has 20 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions.
15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 15 this year.
No, I thought he had 16 last night before the game started. He threw 4 more, so he had 20 touchdowns, and he didn't throw any interceptions last night.
Nope. 15 touchdowns this year.
He has 15 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, 4 interceptions. He has 2,159 yards, 5-3 record. Yeah. The teams he's lost to were the Denver Broncos, who have the number 1 scoring defense.
I don't know how they
number 1
lost
defense in points allowed. They lost to Atlanta. That was just a weird game. Yeah. And they lost in a shootout to Kansas City. This year, Jimmy G has completed 67% of his throws this year. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, like I said. 8.1 yards per attempt, 2,159 yards passing. There's a little bit of context. Jimmy G, throughout the entire offseason, had shoulder surgery. That's why he didn't get traded. Or he didn't get released for some reason, because they wanted to get something out of Jimmy G. He wasn't allowed to practice with the team when he did get healthy. He wasn't given a playbook throughout basically the entire practice. It was all Trey Lance. He started in week 3 when he was finally allowed to practice with the team, and he's slowly getting into rhythm. I don't see a problem with Jimmy G just doing his job at all. I don't see a problem with it. Because, yes, he doesn't need to be a flashy quarterback, but why does him not being a super mobile quarterback or having a gigantic arm, why does that have to make you a top 15 player?
I think he's pretty athletic. I mean, he's
no runner.
Strong arm.
He's no runner, but he doesn't take deep shots usually.
That's the offense that he's running.
Right, that's the offense, yes. I really don't see a problem.
I think he's pretty athletic.
He's efficient, and by the way, him getting carried by a running game, the 49ers passing offense is ranked higher than their running offense this year. Their passing defense isn't even top 10. It's not even above a third of the league. Throughout most of Jimmy G's career, yes, he's had pretty good defenses, but he hasn't had. There were 2 years where he had both a top 10 offense and top 10 defense.
Yeah. Well, I think he.
Top 10 passing yard defense and rushing yard defense. There's only been 2 years, 2020 and 2021. 2019, they were first in passing defense, 17th in rushing defense. Went 13-3. So it's not like he's being absolutely carried by his team. The team he has around him, yeah, it's really good. It is really, really good. But he's won a couple of games without Deebo Samuel, the main juice of this team pre Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey got out carried a couple of games ago by Elijah Mitchell, his first game off IR. So yes, he has a great team around him, but I don't see a problem with doing really well, doing your job. You not throwing 70-yard bombs to a Deebo Samuel or a George Kittle. Imagine if Dak Prescott or Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, put up 228 yards and 4 touchdowns. What a great game, an efficient game from either one of those quarterbacks. Jimmy G does it. Well, he's a product of what he has around him. Huh? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't see a problem with him.
I think he's getting more respect. I do think he's getting more respect, and my prediction is he will get a contract offer from San Francisco.
San Francisco was significantly better off with him than without him. But the problem is they spent so much on Trey Lance.
I mean, they don't know anything about Trey Lance, really. They don't know really what he can do. And now he's been hurt. He's out for the whole season. I think they would be taking way too much risk with a very good team to let Trey Lance come back and be the starting quarterback again. Right. They're going to wind up giving if they continue to do as well as they're doing and they get deep into the playoffs and perhaps get to the Super Bowl and maybe even win it, then I'm pretty sure that they were going to give 49ers are going to give Jimmy G a new contract.
I hope that's true because Jimmy G is legitimately perfect for Kyle Shanahan's offense. And Jimmy G is a very professional player. When he was stripped of his starting job early in the offseason, when he was told, yeah, we're gonna start the young guy, Trey Lance, Jimmy G didn't come out and say, I mean, I'm being replaced. It sucks. We'll see where it takes. Jimmy G stayed calm, stayed professional, didn't really say anything bad about Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And then he gets the starting job, and look at him now. He's being efficient.
He's having, I think,
he doesn't make that many mistakes.
He's having a really good season. I mean, he had a season where he went 13-3. It's hard to beat that, but he's having a great season.
He had one bad throw.
Particularly given that he had basically no preseason.
Yeah, you're right.
No preseason.
Right.
No
playbook.
I mean, I don't know. They treated him poorly, I think. I give the guy a lot of credit for turning the other cheek and just let bygones be bygones and get out there and play and enjoy it, He's doing great.
The only problem I have with it is the only problem is they spent so much to get Trey Lance. What are they going to do with him? It's just like the thing with Jordan Love for the Packers.
Have they spent a lot? I mean, they
gave like 3 first-round picks for him.
Oh, did they to get high enough to pick him? Yeah,
because they jumped from like I think 20 something.
That may have been
third.
a mistake. I mean, the guy
maybe.
I think that was a lot to give for a guy that played at a small college and never really played much football, right?
Yeah.
So
we'll see. It's just a thing of principle. Can the 49ers live with themselves knowing they spent so much to get a guy that won't start for them?
Yeah, well, they're making the best of the situation right now, and they're lucky they had the quarterback that could get it done for them, who was getting it done for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I like you said, I can see the 49ers going pretty deep in the playoffs, especially if they stay healthy.
Who's going to beat them in the NFC? Maybe the Bucks. Maybe the Bucks will rise to the occasion. The Rams aren't going to be there this year, right?
No.
The Eagles haven't played well in the playoffs. Last year they
don't have an experience.
They got knocked off by the Bucks.
Right.
The Cowboys, they have a really good defense, though. The 49ers beat them last year. Right. And now it won't be probably I don't know, the 49ers record. They lost a few games early in the season, so they're only 6-4 now, right?
6-4 to 7-3 from Dallas.
7-3. So we'll see who has the better record. Last year they played in Dallas.
It won't matter because as long as the Eagles retain the NFC, what's it called? I guess it does matter because they may play the first game. Let's say San Francisco is the 3 seed. They would play.
I think San Francisco will wind up winning the division.
They would play Seattle at the 6th seed. So they might play Seattle, and they've already beaten Seattle. Trey Lance beat them. So there's a chance they get pretty lucky with this because they would be the 3 seed right now, and then Seattle would be the actually Seattle might be the 7th seed. That'd be weird. Them to be the 7th seed. So can the 49ers make him? Can Jimmy G lead him? Yeah, I definitely, because he does his job. I mean, I'm not gonna hate on a dude just because he doesn't.
He's done better with the interceptions this year. Last year he had a few problems with that.
Yes,
he threw some poor balls there that got intercepted last year. He hasn't done that this year so far.
And
still a long way to go. There's still a long way to go.
There's what, 7 games left?
Yeah.
I want to say this. In the Rams game, in the NFC Championship game, if the 49ers cornerback, I believe it's Tarrant, who I believe just got hurt, is out for the year. If he caught that interception, it bounced off, I think it was bounced right off his chest. The 49ers would be in the Super Bowl. The 49ers would play the Bengals. And with Nick Bosa and that defense, Jimmy G probably would have a ring right now.
Yeah.
So this team is very capable, and with Jimmy G, yes, it's crazy. Jimmy G, slightly above average. People call him a bottom 10 quarterback, but in my opinion,
I don't. I put him up there. I think he's up there pretty high. I think he's quite athletic, and he can make the throws.
Yes. So could I see them getting to the Super Bowl? Yeah, I can. Let's move on to our next topic. We're talking about the Thanksgiving Day predictions that we have. We have 3 games this year. It's the Patriots at the Vikings. We have the Bills at the Lions, and we have the Giants at the Cowboys. I can bring up the odds here just so we could talk about it. Let's start with the earliest game, the 12:30 game on CBS. Buffalo at Lions. Buffalo is favored on the road, -9.5. What are you seeing in this game? Who's your pick? And what's the outcome of this game?
I'd like to see the Lions win this game. I mean, on Thanksgiving, they always have played on Thanksgiving since way, way, way back, since I was like 5 years old. I think even before that, they always play on Thanksgiving. It's their game. And they've risen to the occasion on many years when they had terrible teams and won on Thanksgiving. I think they probably have a chance to win here, but I don't think they're going to.
So you take the Bills. Would you also take the
Bills? But I won't. I think the Lions will beat the point spread.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. I will agree with you. I will take the Bills -9.5, and I will also...
I'm rooting for the Lions, by the way.
Of course you are. You want the Patriots to be in first place.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
The Lions played home. They generally played better on the home. I'll agree with you. Lions +9.5, but Bills get the win. The next game, Giants at Cowboys, 4:30 p.m. game on Fox.
What's the point spread on that one?
Cowboys -9.5 against the Giants. Who are you picking for the odds, and who comes out with the W in this one?
I'd say the Cowboys win this one.
Point spread. Who covers?
I think that I think it will be a close. I think that the Giants will cover on the point spread.
I'm going Cowboys take the W and cover the 9.5 point spread.
Yeah.
This defense with Micah Parsons, Dexter Lawrence, I believe, or it might be DeMarcus Lawrence. You got Diggs, Trevon Diggs out there. I'll take Cowboys. Cowboys beat them, I believe, 23-7. They had 23 pressures on Daniel Jones, sacked him, I think, 6 times. I think this is pretty easy. I'll take Cowboys -9.5. And finally, the late night game was at 8:20 NBC on Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Patriots at Minnesota. Patriots underdogs. Minnesota's favored -2.5 points.
Yeah.
Who are you taking? Who covers?
I take the Pats.
Okay.
I think they'll beat the point spread.
Yeah, obviously. I'll also take the Patriots simply on the principle of
Their defense, my God,
well,
they've got it
yes.
figured out now. I think they're dialed in. The only thing that might trip them up a little bit is they don't have a lot of time to prepare for this game,
Yeah.
right? But neither do the Vikings, so that's a toss-up there on the prep time. But sometimes that trips up the Patriots a little bit when they don't have much time to prepare.
Right.
So I still like them, though. I'd like to see Mac Jones get the ball in the end zone a few times here, you know?
Yeah, you would hope so. I
think they should try. I think they should try to shoot for the end zone when they're not in the red zone, right? A little further back, because once they get up close, you know, the defense can zone in on them better, and they just can't get in the end zone when they're in the red zone. That's a problem for them. They got to get that figured out if they think they're going to be in the playoffs.
Right. Just a little bit of an injury update with the Patriots. Anthony Jennings, the linebacker. Marcus Jones, the savior for the Patriots in the last week, the cornerback. Devontae Parker, Josh Uche, and Isaiah Wynn all limited at the start of this week's practice.
Yeah, they'll all play.
I don't know. Isaiah Wynn may not. Devontae Parker, he's been dealing with injury the past couple
What'd they
weeks.
say about David Andrews?
He did not practice. So my guess is...
Did they say what his injury is?
Yeah, thigh.
A thigh injury, but how bad? I mean...
The initial reports were very serious, could be out for the year. So, we'll see. I will also take the Patriots to cover and win on the principle of Kirk Cousins does not play well in prime time. So...
And also, he's playing against Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So they'll have something special for him. I mean, it's going to be tough for the Patriots. They take away your best player, right? But the Vikings have both Justin Jefferson and Cooks,
Yeah.
right? So they have a really good running back and a great receiver. So it's going to be hard to take away both.
Right. Kirk Cousins is 0-2 in his career versus the Patriots. He played him in 2015 and 2018. Both of them ended up obviously being losses. The most recent loss was 24-10, and the first game, which was in 2015, they lost 27-10. In these games, he completed 64.3% of his throws, averages just about 209 yards per game. He averages 1 touchdown to 1.5 picks. So does not play great against the Patriots, but not a lot of teams do.
No.
So
that's a long time ago, and the teams are very different now.
well, that's true. That's true. To me, it doesn't matter, though. Kirk Cousins' prime time, especially this year, we've seen, and throughout his career, hasn't done very well. Against the Patriots right now with the second point allowed defense, second highest points allowed, I guess I should say second lowest. This defense looks really good right now. Penalties are still a huge issue. That's my problem. They had 8 penalties against the Jets. Can they tone it down? Usually,
That's not a problem for them this year, penalties.
Usually penalties is a sign of bad coaching.
Yeah.
So to have a Bill Belichick team get penalized this much this year, it's a lot of question marks. But I will still take the Patriots here. So there it is. Let's move on to our weekly recap of each week.
One thing I want to point out before we go there is Tyler Heineke has been named the starter for the Washington Commanders, and Carson Wentz will be the backup.
Yeah, you predicted it very early on in the year when when Carson Wentz got traded there. You were like, why is he the one starting? Taylor Heineke should be there. He just played okay. He's better than Carson Wentz. And
he's played well, Heineke, and he's got a lot of fire. I think
teammates really like him, though.
Yeah,
that's a huge thing. Teammates really like him. And since we're on the topic of news like that, Sam Darnold will be the starter for the Panthers upcoming this week. So that's something also to look out for, to see if Sam Darnold, he got the starting job.
Yeah.
There were reports saying his teammates wanted him to get a chance, and now he does get his chance. Even though honestly, Baker Mayfield didn't play that bad against the Ravens.
Yeah,
game's 13-3.
And what were his stats?
He had 2 interceptions. I'll bring it up because I also want to talk about QBR for that game. We'll get into it when we do this. When we get to the recap. But see if I can bring it up here quickly. It was the Ravens versus. Apparently, here we go. Sorry. 21-33, 196 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, got sacked 4 times. QBR of 20.3. Yeah. Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, not too much better.
No.
Not too much better. 24 of 33, 209 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, a QBR of 24.8. So wasn't the Carolina also didn't rush the ball very well. 2.1 yards per carry. So
Well, the Ravens have a good defense.
They do. So I don't know. People don't like Baker Mayfield anymore. He hasn't played up to the standards, and I can understand that. Just, when we take a look at it, Lamar didn't play much better. For most of this game, it was 3-3.
Yeah.
And in the fourth quarter, when Baker Mayfield was forced to, make plays, 10 points were given up. So let's move on to our picks, though. I don't know who we're starting with. We'll see right here. We'll start with me. Why not? I started off really well this week. Very, very well this week. I started off 1-0, and I did really well. I think I went 11-3 on my win-loss, which has been a common theme for me the entire year. So let's begin. The Bears-Browns game, or I should say, as I've been saying, the Cleveland Clowns. They played pretty well through the first couple quarters against the Bills, but the Bills were finally able to push away. Josh Allen did not play great. He didn't play that bad, though. So the Bills have been a little bit of a question mark for me. We'll see that Friday when I update my top 10 quarterbacks and my Nate's notches. We'll get that down and break that down. The next game, I had a funny feeling. It just doesn't make sense. For some reason, betting plus 13 on the Panthers seemed right to me, even though it was a little bit crazy because the Ravens looked really good. This game turned out to be 13-3 in favor of the Ravens. I know the Ravens would obviously win this game, but it's a little bit surprising.
So you missed on the point spread on that one.
I hit because I said Panthers
Why
plus 13.
don't you have a red X on it then? You have a red-green circle around it.
Because the Panthers covered the plus 13 spread.
Oh.
It's 13-3.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit nervous for the Ravens when they continue to play good teams, because if you only put up 13 points against the Panthers, who are like the 30th ranked team in the league, a little bit of a question mark there. Next one, Giants, Lions. Daniel Jones and this Giants team did not play very well. Daniel Jones threw 2 interceptions. Very ugly game, and it was mostly because Saquon couldn't get going.
Yeah.
And I said this when I did my Nate's Notches going into week 8. I said, if Saquon gets shut, it was the same question I asked for the Jets and Zach Wilson. If Saquon gets shut down, can Daniel Jones make the plays needed to win games? And the answer has been generally no. He had one very good game where him and Saquon had over 100 yards rushing, I believe, and Daniel Jones threw for 200 yards. So that wasn't really, it's either Saquon Barkley or it's Daniel Jones. They kind of had a really good game. This time, Saquon couldn't get going. Daniel Jones needed to make plays and just couldn't against the 32nd rated defense in the league. So a lot of question marks there for the Giants. Their playoff hopes are slowly slipping away. Next one, Patriots-Jets. We brushed over this. Zach Wilson should be. We'll see if he actually does, but he should get benched. He's playing poorly. Mac Jones had a pretty good game. It's just when he get into that 30-yard line, when he get into the red zone, penalties, sacks, kept them out of the end zone. So not great, but they were able to get it done thanks to Marcus Jones on an 84-yard punt return. So Patriots need to get something going this Thanksgiving night against the Vikings. Next one, Commanders and Texans. People were questioning, Heineke, he was a backup quarterback to Carson Wentz. He comes in here and he's getting points on the road against the Texans? Yeah, there's a reason why. Taylor Heineke has a sort of black magic aura around him. Let's figure out a way to win games. And he is now. And Riverboat Ron said, hey, you're going to get the starting job. You deserved it. You earned it. And he has. So good job for the Commanders. Next one. This was a push on the point spread. 27-24. So it was a tie. The Bears just couldn't get it done. Justin Fields went down with a shoulder injury. He's questionable. He's day-to-day. So we'll see if he plays this next game, I believe against the Jets it was. So when it came down to it late in the game, Justin Fields just could not get it done. Marcus Mariota played pretty well, able to get the win here. They responded to basically every single one of the Bears' points. So good for Marcus Mariota, good for Justin Fields and the Bears trying to keep up with the Falcons. Hopefully Justin Fields stays healthy for next week. Next one, Rams and Saints. The Rams are done. I'm sorry. Going from Super Bowl to what you guys are now, the Rams are done. They are finished. And that is in large part due to the fact that they can't get a running game going. They just released their starting running back for some reason. I guess it was production that couldn't get it done. Their offensive line, it just isn't the same. Their defense, I thought was going to be the best defense in the league with Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey, and Aaron Donald, and Leonard Floyd. They can't get anything done. Jalen Ramsey was considered the number 1 quarterback last year. He's not proven it this year. So I was not too surprised because I did end up picking the Saints. But Andy Dalton played really well. I think he threw 3 touchdowns, not that many completions. He played well. Just can he keep it up? Jameis Winston is not very happy. He lost his.
The Saints still have a chance for the playoffs?
I believe so. I'll bring up the standings here. The Saints are 4-7. Atlanta's 5-6. Tampa's 5-5. So within the NFC South, technically yes, they are still in contention. It is highly unlikely, but hypothetically yes, they do have a chance. So let's move on. Well, this is embarrassing for the Eagles, not being able to cover a 6.5 point spread against the Colts, who are a horrible team, barely eking out this win. I thought this was going to be a huge upset when I took a look at the game, but Eagles were able to pull it out. Jalen Hurts got a last-second touchdown. They basically sealed the game away. I shouldn't say last second, but basically I think it was like third and goal, 4th and goal, able to score a rushing touchdown. Good for Jalen Hurts. This Eagles team, I don't know. I said as soon as the Commanders beat them, did the Commanders figure out a way to sort of shut down the Eagles, slow them down, make them more vulnerable? It's seeming like that a little bit. They're barely eking out wins now. Next one. The Raiders, they got an overtime win. They won a close game. It was impressive. Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, I said the past 2 weeks, on Friday, I said the past 2 weeks, Devontae Adams and Derek Carr were the only real positive things going on with the Raiders team. And take a look at it now. Devontae Adams, over 100, I think 40 yards receiving. I think he put up another pair of touchdowns here. Derek Carr did not play too bad. And, we have to make a little bit of a context thing here. The Broncos defense is rated number 1 in points allowed, and it showed. They shut down the Raiders, who are not necessarily a great offense, but we're seeing just how bad Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett really are. He couldn't get a win against the Raiders, who were 2-7 or 3-7. What are they now? 2-7. They were 2-7 at the time. Josh McDaniels looked like he was going to get kicked out by the Las Vegas faithful. And, well, you lost to him. It says a lot about you and about your team. Next one. Oh, boy. Kirk Cousins in prime time should not be surprised, but to get blown out by 37 points against Dak Prescott, yikes. Tony Pollard, best running back for the Cowboys right now, over Zeke. I think that should be stated. I think that's kind of obvious right now.
I think he had a great game receiving, too.
Yes,
right?
He had a 64-yard receiving touchdown. Yeah. It was great. So TJ Hawkinson, I said he was a pretty good tight end. He dropped a couple touchdowns there early. Could have set the tone. It's a little bit funny how the Lions just decided to get rid of him intra-divisional. So it says a lot about where the Vikings are right now. As long as they don't play prime time, I think they're going to be okay. Not great, okay. And then the Bengals Steelers. Joe Burrow had a little bit of a turnover issue in this game. Not as many, but kept it relatively close until a little bit later in the game where they finally, create some separation between them. Kenny Pickett did not have an interception. Kenny Pickett was no longer Kenny Pick-em-off in this game. Good for him. Good for him. Mike Tomlin will still not have a winning record at the end of this year, though. I said that at the very beginning of the year, he will not have a winning record, and I feel good about that prediction. They are right now 3-7 and bottom in the AFC North. I'll gladly take that to the bank. Next one. Chiefs, Chargers. I said on my Harvey hot hand, I could see the Chargers covering the +5 spread. And I was right about that. Seems like Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, this might be, it could be another Brady Manning type of thing. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning sort of a matchup. Even though that's more so Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I think. I'm trying to think of one other quarterback. Maybe a playoff Ravens Joe Flacco. Maybe that kind of a matchup. Justin Herbert potentially being the Joe Flacco to Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady. Their playoff matchups always used to be really good. Just Justin Herbert can't quite get over the hump yet of beating Patrick Mahomes, but I think he will. He's done it a couple times, I believe. Eventually, he might win a couple in a row. And then finally, the 49ers defense shut down Colt McCoy and a little bit of Trace McSorley. This team looks really, really good. They're close to the top of the NFC for me, if not the top. Jimmy G is doing his job. He's not a phenomenal thrower. He doesn't have a lot of arm strength, isn't the most mobile, but he's incredibly accurate with the football and doing his job. Once again, if any quarterback like a Dak Prescott, a Josh Allen, a Tom Brady, any one of these quarterbacks, 240, 230 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, you would say a really good and efficient game from that quarterback. But when it's Jimmy G, people seem to be hating on that idea just because he's not that type of a talent. He's just really efficient and really accurate and not flashy. So, a very good week for me. Spread was a little bit off, but 11-3 in the win-loss column, I'm very happy about that.
You're winning almost 70% of your games.
I like it.
94-56. That's pretty good.
I'm very happy with the way this week ended up being. Let's move on to your stuff because you had slightly worse of a week, but you know what? Not too bad. Hit it.
I'm still up on my win-loss now.
You are
79-71. So I'm happy about that. The Green Bay game, I thought they were going to win. Now I've given up on them. I think they're toast. I don't think
they are right now below Detroit in the standings.
Yeah. So I think they're done for the year. Buffalo beating the Browns. I was pretty sure that was going to happen. I got the points right on that one. The Ravens against the Panthers got the win, but missed on the point spread. I thought Baker Mayfield would play better. The Giants against the Lions. I think this exposes the Giants a little bit, losing to the Lions. The Lions now have won 4 games, right? They've won the last 3.
I said the very beginning of the year, the
so
Lions.
That's why I'm thinking they may have a good chance on Thanksgiving Day, and I'll be rooting for them, even though I'm picking against them.
I said at the very beginning of the year, you could argue for the Lions winning 4 games.
Yeah, their problem has been their defense. Maybe
they
fixed their defense a little bit, right?
They're still dealing with injuries on defense,
Yeah.
but I said you could argue for them winning 4 games. You could argue for them winning 8 games, and it's looking more towards that 8-game thing right now. But who knows?
Yeah. Patriots. It's a hard game to watch, but it had an exciting ending, and I picked them, and I was right. So for the couple of weeks in a row now, I've been right on the Patriots. The Commanders, I got that one right in the point spread. I like Tyler Heineke. He's now named the starter, as I predicted early in the season, with Carson Wentz as the backup. I don't know. Chicago, I can't figure them out. They look so good against the Patriots. And now they haven't played well since then, really. And Atlanta, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. But usually they keep the game close. I don't know. The Marcus Mariota running the ball, scoring a touchdown. So they won that game, and I picked it wrong. I got the Saints against the Rams wrong, although Stafford got hurt in that game. If he hadn't gotten hurt, they might have won. So that was unlucky for me. I picked the Eagles to beat the Colts only by 1 point, so I missed on the point spread. I picked the Raiders to win. They got it in overtime and covered on the point spread. The Cowboys, I guess this one by a lot, huh? I mean, the Vikings got smoked in that game. The Bengals beat the Steelers. However, Burrow has a hard time against the Steelers. He didn't play that well, but they pulled it out. Kansas City, looks like they're headed to the Super Bowl. We talked about it. Beat the Chargers, who I think are a little bit shaky team. It's hard to know how they're going to play. Sometimes they play really well, sometimes they're shaky. San Francisco, another potentially Super Bowl-bound team, plays well in Mexico City, beats the Cardinals handily.
And very interesting. There's a lot that is going to be broken down in the next couple weeks. You know, there's a lot of question marks that still need to be answered when it comes to, are the Giants legit? We said they looked legit after beating the Ravens, and then you know what? You put on Saquon. It's something to look at. Can Daniel Jones actually do well when it comes later in the year?
Well, when you can't run the ball, it's hard on the quarterback.
Right.
Right. Throwing a couple of interceptions is not surprising if they can't run the ball at all. Because they know he's going to be throwing it.
Right. Just so you know, I'm now gonna keep this updated. I went 3-1-1, 3 losses, 1 win, 1 tie on my Harvey hot hand to move my record to 31-25-1. So keeping a winning record here. No, that's what I'm all about, keeping a winning record. So I'll stay more consistent on keeping you up to date on that. But I believe I have nothing left on the topic board, so I think that will wrap it up for us here at the Harvey Hour. We wish you all a happy Thanksgiving from us.
Happy Thanksgiving,
To
everyone.
you guys here at the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the Harvey Hour. Make sure you follow all social medias. They're down below us at Nathan T. Harvey1 on Twitter and at the Harvey Hour on TikTok to find clips. Also, if you want to listen to the show, anchor.fm/the Harvey Hour. That's where this podcast will be uploaded. If you want to listen to it on Spotify, anchor.fm, listen to it there. But for this episode, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the Harvey Hour. We'll see you Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my, Nate's Notches, my top 10 quarterbacks.